Right, so Lee should be joining now, everyone. So if you're planning on asking a question, could I just ask you to pop your camera on just so you can see who's talking to, please?
You okay?
Hi Lee, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just stand this up.
Cool.
Sorry, it's a bit late. My battery went on my phone.
No problem at all. Thanks for joining. I think Ron Lewis, if you want to kick things off, and then we'll move on from there.
So, some curtains behind us.
Go on, mate, go for it.
See you better now, yeah?
That's great. Thanks, mate.
Excellent. Okay, Lee.
Hi, mate.
Hi. Well, take us first. I mean, it's ended up being a year out of the ring. How have you filled your year?
Same as everybody else, doing nothing. Nah, I've been training every day. A friend of mine, Gavin Gwynn, a fellow professional boxer and stable mate of mine, he built me a gym at my house. So I've been training at my house a lot, going back and forth Newport, back and forth Bristol, and just doing the usual stuff, family time, looking after all my animals and training.
I take it he's actually a builder. He's not just like, done some sort of chancy effort. How good's your gym at home?
As good as any gym. Everlast is kitting me out with all the bags and stuff. It's the top gym.
Have you revalued the house since you had a gym attached?
No, but I think it would have added some money on it. What
do you think of this fight? You've been looking at him a long time now. You were pretty close to fighting him last time. Has your view changed him at all?
Not really, no. So the same. He's decent. He's a good fighter. Fast hands. Very confident. Young. So it should make a really good fight.
Would you say he's the sort of biggest guy you faced? Because you've had, what, 3 fights now? This is your 3rd fight at lightweight? Obviously, Ricky was a huge guy, so...
The biggest?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not big.
Mm.
He's not big, really. I've got a box bigger. Ricky Burns is bigger, yeah.
What do you think he brings that's a threat to you?
His main attribute is his hand speed, I think. He's very fast.
Does that work with you? Because you're largely a reaction sort of counter puncher. You're really happy doing that. It's not the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
But you like to work off other people's pace. That's when you look your best.
Yeah, but he is very fast and very aggressive. But that's, like I said, that's his main attribute is fast hands, I think.
There's been talk, obviously, of the winner of this fighting Lopez. How much of a shock was that to you, Lopez beating Lomachenko?
It wasn't a massive shock, to be honest. And people who asked me earlier on, I was tipping Lopez to win the fight. But the closer the fight got, the more I've seen everyone favouring Lomachenko. It sort of persuaded my opinion. So I went back with Lomachenko then. So I wasn't really surprised. I was surprised it was by points. I thought he might have caught him and got a stoppage.
How did you see Saturday going?
Me winning, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think you expect him to go full distance, or do you think you can
probably,
wear him down?
Probably the 12 rounds, I'd imagine.
Excellent. Thanks, Lee.
No problem. That's all.
Hi, Lee. How you doing?
Ryan, do you want to jump in, mate? Sorry, I was just on mute there. Apologies.
No problem. How are you, Lee? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Look, Lee, 4 days out. I've got to wonder, after all the delays and all the uncertainty, you've been waiting for this fight a long time. Is it almost a feeling of relief at this point to be so close?
Yeah, so I'll be a relief when it's over. But yeah, it's been a long time coming.
And I just wanted to touch on, we saw some quotes going around earlier in the week talking about, you said, I'm 2 fights away from making history. How important is that to you to make history for your country and become a multi-weight world champion?
It's more than it. That's the biggest incentive. It's more than it. Like, you can't put a price tag on it. You couldn't buy that sort of thing writing your name in the history books. Like, I'm the 12th man from Wales to become a world champion. That's a massive thing in its own right. And to be the first one to be a 2-weight world champion, that's huge for me.
And the final one from me, Lee, before I pass you on to the other guys.
Yeah.
George has talked about your past sparring. I appreciate it wasn't many rounds, and said he felt like he rocked you to your boots. How does that differ from your recollection of that sparring?
Well, I'm as honest as they come. When I watched him spar, he looked very good. He sparred an amateur, a Scottish boy, an amateur. Looked good, bloodied his nose up. When I got in there, it was just like, he just kept coming. I was just picking him off as he come. if you rocked into my boots, I'd be the first one to all mine because it's only sparring. I didn't know him straight away.
All right, Lee. Well, thank you for your time. I'll pass you on to the other guys.
No problem.
Saturday night.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeremy, would you like to jump in, please?
Perfect. Thank you. Lee, thank you for taking the time to talk today. I know there's been a lot of talk within the media, I know from George's side about sparring with you a few years ago. Can you kind of reflect on what actually that consisted of? How many rounds? What was that like?
I think it was back in 2018 in the wildcard. I think, George sparred first. He sparred a boy from Scotland who was an amateur at the time. He's turned professional now. He's an unbeaten pro at the moment. And he looked very good. He bloodied his nose up, and I thought I got to be on the ball there. So when I got in sparred, I sparred brilliant and just sort of outboxed him. And yeah, he thinks he had me running around. He quoted he had me running all around the wildcard and shook me to my boots every time he hit me. If that was the truth, if that was the case, I would have held my end up instead. It would have made more of an interesting fight then.
Mm-hmm. Looking back at that time, was there a lot of rounds, or was it really just 4 rounds?
Only 4 rounds.
Okay, so you feel like he's just kind of blowing up those 4 rounds just for head games, mind games?
I don't know what he's doing, but it's not the truth. It's only sparring. I'd be the first one to say what happened in sparring.
When you were sparring with him, was there anything that stood out to you, or was it just like another workout?
Nothing really stood out. But when I watched him, he looked good. But like when I was in, it was just like normal sparring, to be honest. I can't really remember. So it couldn't have been that good. Otherwise, I would have remembered, I think.
Looking at Kambosos' experience, looking at his resume, what do you think about the type of opponents that he's fought? Is there any of the names on there that impress you, or do you feel like he's out of his league?
He's not out of his league. He's like unbeaten. He's a decent fighter. But you look at it, you go through his like list of opponents. You go on BoxRec and look who they fought, who they've been knocked out by. You can see that they're not like of a high quality, except for his last opponent, Mickey Bey, where he was a former world champion. But he was he was past his best, and he'd been inactive for a while, and he was old. And he had a split decision win. It was a close fight.
Last question for me on my end. Looking at, you talked about some of his best attributes.
Yeah.
What do you think are one of your 2 key attributes that are going to win you the fight?
My footwork, and possibly my experience, and my range.
Perfect. Lee, thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Well, Joe from Seconds Out. Do you want to jump in, Joe?
All right, Lee. How's it going, mate?
All right, not bad.
Good. Being that obviously Kambosos is quite a confident guy, how do you plan to neutralise that early to stop it being a big factor in the fight?
Well, just by outboxing him, making him miss.
And do you think he's overly confident? Do you think his record shows, he needs to sort of calm down in what he's saying sometimes?
I think so, and like a lot of it is uncalled for. It's not like he's trying to settle the fight. He's just talking rubbish, really. Like the fight don't need settling. There's no fans in attendance, and like the main draw on the pay-per-view is Usyk and Chisora, so he don't really need to start talking rubbish. But I just think that's how he is.
Yeah. And you mentioned to Danny in an interview a couple of weeks ago, you said it'd take a big fight to get you down back to super featherweight. Is there anyone in particular that you look at and think I'd go to super featherweight for that fight?
Not really. I'd only drop down if it was like a world title fight, or like a fight I'm in now, like a final eliminator or something. It's difficult to make that weight. How I made featherweight for so long, I don't know.
Has it been a lot easier through lockdown knowing that you don't have to cut as much weight as well?
A bit easier, but it's still very difficult. Like now I'm close to the lightweight limit. I don't know how on earth I make featherweight.
I'm sure the home gym would have helped.
It'd kill me.
Nice one, mate. Thank you.
No problem.
Any more questions for Lee before we let him leave? Okay, Lee, I think we are done.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Bye. Bye.
Okay.